there's something funky going on. Hopefully the funk has finished for the moment. How's everybody doing? It's Wednesday afternoon where I am. Say hello if you're watching. Let me know if you can hear me, because I've been having some weird things happening with the sound. Hi, bestie. I'm gonna start with Grace. The song.
On my way, I never act so calmly in the face of the wreckage that you roared. The storm on my turn, the copper beach, the couch is still. We tell ourselves that nothing ever changed so much. I see it all, the grace that you hold. You send me out in the cold, oh, to cold talk, as much as you'd ever hold. Is it enough? Is infinity sin? Don't ever cast a stone before you. All of us are fickle and unmoored. At least you're not all the things you're not. Could there be anything that you would rather hear less? I see it all, the grace that you stole. You send me out in the cold, oh, to cold talk, as much as you'd ever hold. You send me out, you send me out in the cold. It's not enough. Ooh, na, 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 na.
Good evening, all. Feel free to share the stream. I'm going to introduce a guest in just a minute. I'm going to play one more song before I bring him in. But yeah, let me know how you're doing. Let me know if there's anything you want to hear. I have a few things lined up, a few requests from last week. But there's always room for more. I can't promise that I'll know them, but it's worth a go. I'm going to play one from the last record called All We Know.
All as much as you like, but it's more than enough. Thank you very much. My conceit has been raised, my folly has crumbled. You can leave when you like, the holes in the doors haven't changed. You're fighting, only fighting the measliest sense. You're fighting in these misleading notions.
That's all we know from the last record. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'm going to bring in a special guest here, all the way from Montreal. He's an amazing improvisational saxophonist, sound artist. He goes by the artist name of Skin Tone. He's Mr. James Goddard. Hello, James. How are you doing? The thumbs up. Looking for that mute button.
I'm doing well. Doing pretty well.
Pretty well.
I just got confused for a minute because I was watching the Twitch stream, and then it was like sounding. I could hear you twice. You know?
How long was the delay? Was it milliseconds? Was it?
It
Seconds.
wasn't. It was shorter than I expected. Actually, it was shorter than I expected.
It's crazy that we can put this stuff out into the world and it's just like there immediately.
Yeah, it's interesting how I've been doing a lot of streaming in my day job, and it's been interesting how much of a learning curve it is to kind of, I don't know, figure it out and stuff, and then you do it and you're like, wow, the idea of just like, I don't know, yeah, the idea of being able to broadcast to anywhere in the world from your home with just a computer. I mean, ideally you have more than a computer, but if push comes to shove, you have just a computer. And then it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's not something I would have imagined doing, like, or I would have imagined being this easy like 5 years ago even.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Like I've been doing this for like, I think this is the 41st one of these, so that's like over 10 months. And I think in that time, I don't know, things have gone wrong like twice or three times. And like when that happens, it makes you realize like how just like ridiculously clever the whole thing is. It's just like, yeah, I just like press go and we're out. Like there's, yeah, people watching from France and Prince Edward Island and Germany. hello to all of those people. Like appreciate the magic of the technology. It's like it's really crazy.
Yeah, so you're coming up on your 1 year anniversary of
Yeah.
streaming every week, if
Yeah.
I'm not. Did you take like Christmas off or
No,
something?
no,
Or
no, no, no. I
no,
mean,
no, no.
what was I gonna do?
I don't know. Have a big party. Go say everyone have a big Christmas party. Is that
Yeah, I kind of figured that like if anything, that was the time to like double down on it. And I think actually like the one right before Christmas was like the highest numbers, so
Oh yeah,
kind of
nice.
made sense.
Um, that's yeah. It's been we did a Christmas show as well, and it was just funny because I went down or we did. I work for Suoni Peril Popolo, which is a music festival in Montreal, and it also is it's affiliated with two venues in
Hmm.
particular, Casa del Popolo and La Sala Rosa, and we've converted La Sala Rosa into a streaming studio, and Suoni's been hosting regular broadcasts bi-weekly, sort of streaming out. And but I went in on Christmas Eve, and I was like, this is very surreal, like sitting like alone at Sala Rosa, like doing this like computer thing to stream out this like weird, very surreal kind of like art video that this person had made, Guizot la Nuit. Anyway, it was a funny it's just a very funny moment in my life, I
I,
guess.
what's the word? Like not juxtaposition, but yeah, like I can't think what the word is. If anybody knows what the word is I'm thinking about, then fire away. But like yeah, just like a strange kind of like yeah combination of circumstances, and you're just like what is this? What is this? What's going on? Where am I?
Yeah. I think maybe absurdity is like
Yeah.
another another good um, term for it, or what have you. But yeah, I mean, it's not the only standing in an empty concert hall isn't the only absurd thing.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like it's just totally par for the course. Things are just weird.
Well,
Um,
yeah, right now like it's snowing in Texas or
yeah.
something, which happens like once every 60 years. It's kind of bonkers. Um,
But you, so
I
you've been working on that stuff with Sawoni. But I think I read in one of your posts today that like you did a streaming show like almost a year ago of your own material. Um,
yeah. I had been very kindly asked to participate in a group art show at sort of about the apocalypse at the Leonard and Ellen Bina Art Gallery, and so the show opened, I think, February 1st or around there.
mhm.
Um, I remember it being like I was approached in November, and I kind of made a whole new piece for the thing because I didn't have any real installation. I had one piece I could do, but I didn't know if I wanted to do it. Um, and so anyways, I made a new piece for it, and and so that it was kind of a whirlwind, and I remember that like being the focus of a lot of my energy sort of over the Christmas break and stuff, and with obviously no knowledge of what was to come. And it opened, and I was supposed to do a performance in the space alongside, or to kind of better articulate the installation piece or present it differently in a more linear format. And naturally, the between when the show opened and when I was supposed to perform, everything in the world was closed to the public. So they asked if I would be willing to do a stream performance or something. And I was like, yeah, sure. I think I can figure this out. Gamers do it every day. I can probably, you know, maybe, hopefully. And then I tried, and it was. I know a lot more about streaming now. I think it was in for what it was, and it was fun to try, and it, I used some tools I'd like to try again sometime for a stream, but I definitely have a better handle on how all of this fits together nowadays. Um, yeah. Hey. So that was that stream, and that was the last time I
Yeah.
guess I did any skin tone music.
But yeah, you're. I mean, I always think of you as like a very, very active musician, collaborator. Like I feel like you were just kind of always doing things. It seems like you kind of managed to keep that going somewhat over the kind of like in the times when we've not been able to play live so much, because we have a performance together on a record. I don't know if you know this on
On
our friend Cedric Noel's last record.
Yeah, it's so that's so funny. That record's really cool. Everyone check it out. Cedric Noel Bandcamp. I'm pretty sure I I'm holding this microphone, so I'm not going to post the link in the chat, but somebody should post the link in the chat, and you should check it out.
Someone post it. Cedric Noel Bandcamp.
Yeah. And that record is really amazing, and it was like,
Someone did it. Thank you, Constant.
thank you. It was this great, like it was so. I feel like I'd forgotten. I had, to be quite honest, I had thought that Cedric had given up on that project because it had been so long since first like Cedric approached me. It was like, here's some synth stuff. Why don't you just do whatever you want on top, and then I'll do another stuff on top of that, and then da 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 da, and like I think it took me like a long time to send in my material, and then he was like, oh yeah, everyone's taking forever, I don't know, and then anyways, so that it was really cool for that record to come out. And so yeah, you're on that record, and a number of other local people, and it's Cedric Noel's practice can encompasses a lot. Sometimes he leans towards, I think this record would be more as ambient experimental kind of stuff, and then sometimes it's straightforward, not that straightforward as a derogatory term, but just like sometimes it's more straightforward, heartfelt rock and roll, and I like that about his practice. I also did a thing with Punk Tie, Laura Bardsley.
Okay.
So Punk Tie is a Laura Bardsley is Blue Odeur, but also Punk Tea or Punk Tie, and local musician, and she's been putting out a collaborative album once a month for 2 years now. So there's like 48 of these little EPs, and they range. Like one of them is just like a conversation between her and some fellow musicians, and some of them are like full out songs. Some of them are like just like one single. Some of them like a bunch of little bits. So there's like all sorts of different stuff on that project. PUNCTII band at bandcamp.com or whatever.
Did anyone get that? Anyone want to post that?
Yeah, and so I got to be like 46, I think,
Cool.
of the 48.
The Joe Biden.
Ouch! I hadn't thought about that, but I guess so. But anyway, so that was a cool project to work on, and otherwise, Egyptian Cotton Orchestra got to do a set for Sappy Fest, which was kind of cool. Weird to get to play Sappy Fest, which is a festival I've had a relationship with for a long time, and it feel like I don't. You've definitely been to Sappy.
Oh
Fest.
yes. This is a festival in New Brunswick, like Eastern Canada, for those not in the know. Really lovely event.
But like half the whole thing of it is community, right? Like it just feels so nice to be like. I don't even know if people go there for the music. I mean, obviously,
maybe a 50-50. Yeah, the end, like North End Halifax, where when I lived in Halifax, all of the hipsters lived. Just kind of like that community moves into this town of what, like 3,000 people. How many people live in Sackville?
I mean, I think it's 3,000, but it's always a bit of a weird thing because it depends on what time of year they do the census. Are the students Sackville residents or are they not? And there's about 1,500 of those.
Right.
So. But yeah, North End of Halifax moves there. People from Ontario come to. Anyways, it's a very lovely time. But it was funny to play Sappy Fest without sappy fest.
Hmm.
Or just like to play the online edition, it was a strange feeling because I feel like so much of what's so special about that festival is really the presence and the being there in this small community and and around amongst all these people who, if maybe that weekend in particular they're not there to listen to music, are all for the most part music lovers.
Nicely put. Very diplomatic, but I think also just spot on. Yeah, they're not there for the music, but they do love music.
Yeah.
Don't get them wrong. All these people, it's so
Not
true.
haters, you know.
Cool,
Yeah.
but yeah. So like, I'm pretty excited to like have you here to kind of give the audience here like a kind of a blast of what it is that you do. I mean, I don't want to kind of say too much about it in advance because I think we can chat about it like after you play rather than kind of just like let the music speak for itself a little bit. But yeah, are you set? Do you want to give us a little?
Yeah, I'm yep, I'm set. So readjust this microphone
course.
so it's in its playing position and I'll be ready to go. Interesting.
I didn't want to interrupt. That was
No,
that was that was some fantastic stuff. Thank you, man.
no problem. Was yeah, I told you before that
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh, no problem. I'll be staring at my computer. It'll be easy to tell how much time elapses. But I did not pay attention at all.
I'm glad. I hope you like let it run its course because that
Yeah.
was I love that. Thank you.
Um,
And for those who don't know, that was improvised, right? Like you mostly, I don't know about mostly, but you do a lot of improvisational work.
yeah, I would say predominant. That's predominantly what I do.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would say that that's totally fair to say. Not I yeah, it's not entirely. A lot of stuff I do with other people maybe is more aleatoric or
Could you describe that? That's a word that I should know what it means, but I totally forget.
it's sort of like semi-structured
Okay.
or like I guess in this context it means kind of like you you plan out at least how I understand it is maybe you have sections sort of planned out of like you have ideas of what
Right,
kind
right.
want to happen when, but you might not write down exactly what note to play when or how to communicate those
I
ideas.
totally do that, but didn't have a word for it. So yes, thank you. That
Like, oh yeah, this part is the
yeah,
part. That part is the part. And
I'm gonna
yeah,
go like and then
yeah, exactly, exactly. Figure out how you want to. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I've been curious to to maybe to try to do some more like traditional style composition, but I don't know why, and I'm
Mm.
sure I would just like. I mean, what I'm interested in that world is just having like hundreds of people playing like four notes for a long time because I
Right.
think that's that kind of like minimal, like maximalist minimalism is. I don't know. I think it's kind of goofy and fun, but uh, I mean, no, it's very serious
Yeah,
music. Very,
very important.
those four notes communicate a great deal about there's a heavy math into figuring out what those four notes are doing
Mm-hmm.
sonically, and academic papers should be written about it. No, yeah. Anyways, yes. The short answer for sure is almost
Yeah,
everything I do.
I'm totally intrigued to hear like how your more composed stuff would come out like in those kinds of scenarios. I mean, I think it's a really tricky thing where like with any sphere of life, if you put a bunch of time into doing something and you get a lot of experience at it and get quite good at it, then to try and do something that is maybe kind of adjacent to it and be kind of starting from a place where like you don't have that experience and you're not kind of like immediately as good as that thing that you were doing before, or like there's the fear maybe of kind of just kind of like not knowing how it's gonna go or whatever. Like it's I don't know. I feel like that with certain kinds of songwriting. Like I never sit down and write the words and then try and write something based on the words. And it's like the longer that I don't do it, the more I'm like I wouldn't be any good at that. I don't want to do, but I probably won't be. Like I probably just need to like just do it a
Yeah,
bunch of
yeah.
times.
Well, but that's such an interesting. That's a really interesting sort of dichotomy between what comes first, the words. Like, do you sometimes approach the themes like is it, when you're composing or writing songs, is it pure? Are you just purely following like melody and like your ear, and you just write music, and then you figure out afterwards
Pretty
what?
much.
Okay, completely.
Yeah.
It's no. I'm feeling sad, so you start playing something that's kind of bluesy or whatever, and then
No, yeah, it's totally just like I just like start playing and singing, and if something happens, because it's very improvisational process. Like it's just that at a certain point you kind of like lock in. I lock in like certain parts of that, but like I can only kind of create in that way, or like that's the way it's been to this point.
Yeah, that's interesting. I yeah, I would be yeah, I sometimes have I actually feel a bit guilty that I didn't have anything to say like lyrically today, but it did just given the context, because it's February and it's Black History Month,
Mm.
and a lot of my you often when I perform live, I incorporate different sort of snippets of Black radical texts or Black Canadian history
Hmm.
or things like that in my performances, and I didn't do that today. And I was like, oh, it's February. This is like when you're supposed to
Mm.
do that, but it was not in the cards. But I definitely and sometimes I just spontaneously say stuff from my own heart or whatever, but come up with my own words. And I definitely it would never occur to me to know necessarily what to like I
Mm.
sometimes, like you're saying, I'll develop a set and then the words will become set in stone, and the structure of the set will become maybe more refined, but the um but it's always at the whim of the performance, uh and I've never come up with stuff that I like to perform completely a priori, or like outside of playing doing the whole thing together,
Mm. Hmm.
that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I've also, I guess what I'm saying is I've also never written words and then written music for it. It's
Mm.
always the words are a byproduct or a
Hmm.
something that comes either with or after the music.
Hmm. Well, that kind of like leads on nicely to the fact that in the video description, at least on the Facebook and the YouTube pages, there's a link to your SoundCloud and your Bandcamp. So there are recordings out there of your stuff. So like those improvisations have been kind of like solidified in a certain sort of way. But I guess like the recording that you have up on Bandcamp it does feel like more of a kind of conceptual, uh, worked out. Like there's a storyline across that.
Yeah, there's a narrative there for sure. That's actually, well, maybe I should stop saying this. But that's actually meant to be the first in a trilogy, sort of trilogy. It's kind of a choose your own adventure
Okay.
trilogy, ideally, in that there is a second iteration to that, and then there's three possible conclusions, three
Okay.
possible third um, tapes in that series. Although, yeah, it's been a while since I worked on that. But and yeah, I guess no. Again, those words sort of came together alongside playing music. Like there were definitely some specific ideas that I wanted to explore. Largely, or definitely heavily influenced by Martine Sims, who's an uh, LA based black conceptual artist, and she's actually got some amazing work, some amazing sound work. There's a tape I picked up a few. Like at one of the first Bandcamp days, I sort of stumbled upon this tape that's kind of, I don't know if it's necessarily, considered part of her main work, but
Hmm.
it's with this DJ and uh, or electronic musician, and it's her recounting a sort of future history of walking tours in the LA region. Anyways, it's Martine Sims, amazing artist. And she has a piece that's a huge influence on me called the uh, Mundane Afrofuturist Manifesto, and it's kind of a response to what she saw as the sort of, I guess she was trying to problematize the fabulism that often accompanies Afrofuturism, and the
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, it's just going to be a bunch of like 70s Afro dudes flying spaceships
Yeah.
around. She just wanted to challenge Afrofuturist orthodoxy, and this piece came out quite a few years ago, so it was like my piece that was influenced by it came out quite a few years ago, so it was a bit ahead of the curve. It was before Afrofuturism was really. It was between the two sort of waves of popularity of Afrofuturism. The first being this kind of '90s, and the third being, well, the first being sort of the '70s and Sun Ra and stuff. That was kind of the first wave of Afrofuturism. Then there was an uptake in the '90s, a sort of second wave of Afrofuturism, and that's when you see a lot of people like Nalo Hopkinson coming up, and you see like the Black Audio Film Collective in the UK doing stuff. You have John Akumfra and Ngozi Anwira. I actually haven't talked to people in a long time, so I didn't check my pronunciation guide before I started this interview. Anyhow, Kodwo Eshun. So that was kind of the '90s wave of Afrofuturism, and now we're having, in the sort of late 20-teens, early 2020s, I think we're having, it might even be almost on its way out, a sort of third wave of Afrofuturism. But the Mundane Afrofuturist Manifesto by Martine Sims, I would argue, was written in the sort of interperiod between the second and third wave of Afrofuturism. Yeah, anyways, it was a huge influence, and I was trying to find a way to explore. One of the main things about it is that what if we think realistically about what life is going to be like for Black people in the future? Because it's unlikely to be fantastic. All things being equal, Black people will continue to face political, racial, social, economic, and geographic struggles, specifically because they're Black. Black people will continue to, in North America in particular, be playing catch up to the kind of ancestral wealth that white people have. Black people are likely going to be excluded from early attempts at space colonization and space exploration, because of lack of educational opportunities, so lack of valued trade skills to be brought on to those kinds of high-tech endeavors. Anyways, so that piece is like, I was like, okay, so what would life be like for some just like random Black dude 200 years from now? Anyways, it's actually indeterminate, but I would say it's a mid-future thing, because ultimately it's going to be about first contact of some kind. But
yeah, and I don't know if our resident typist Constant is still in the chat, but maybe because in Facebook and YouTube there is the link for that Bandcamp where people can go listen to that. But Constant, if you can, he's already. I didn't even have to tell him, he's got it. So for the Twitch people, the link is there. If people want to check that out. And so for people who don't regularly watch, I have guests most weeks, and there's an option to donate to support this project in general, but the artists who come on as well, as guest artists. And so the links for that are in the video text, and 50% of donations go to the guest artist every week. So feel free. It's much appreciated, and thanks to everyone that supported this far, that's kept it going for 10 months. But before we say goodbye, like what's on the horizon for you for the next little while?
Well, we're about to, March 4th is the big launch for Swoni Perelpopolo's Swoni TV Season 2. So if you like watching streamed music,
I guess they do if they
I guess you watch this, so please check it out. SwoniPerelpopolo.org. We got a great lineup. The first on March 4th, it's a double bill featuring Ephraim Minuk from a new project from Ephraim from Godspeed, and a new project from Radwan Mumna Gaze, who also plays as Jerusalem in My Heart. So they're both going to be doing something. Who knows? And we'll be talking to them, chatting to them, and then That's gonna take up a lot of my time. I guess I have a track that's gonna come out on a compilation by local record label Personal Records.
Okay.
At some point in the nearish future. And also, I'm in talks with them to do something really weird and wacky, a run of like 20 direct to lathe recordings. So
Okay.
I guess there will be 20 lathes, and I'll like play, and
This
the
is like a
lathe,
vinyl lathe for
yeah,
making records.
exactly. We'll cut direct. Anyway, so that's a kind of
Whoa.
cool experimental thing that'll happen. Oh, actually, that's anyways. And then I just today a weird collaboration piece aired on CKUT during the If You've Got Ears time slot. CKUT is the campus community one of the campus community radio stations here in Montreal, 90.3 FM. They also have a website, ckut.ca. So I guess that's
You're busy.
yeah,
Keeping it.
and then I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, the links are there in the video description, so people can. I guess when you've got new stuff out, it's going to come up on Bandcamp and SoundCloud.
Exactly. What do you have coming up? What are you?
I don't know. I kind of started this with no intention of doing more than one, and just got sucked in, and like so, I plan to do this every week. Just I don't know, for a long time. I think even once I can get it back out on the road again. But I've got a Spanish EP coming out in May. I think there'll be some announcements about that in the next little while.
Like it's your singing.
Yeah,
and
yeah. I translated some of the songs into Spanish. I have a somewhat functional grasp of the language and really wanted to sing in it. So, yeah, I've translated some of the songs. And an aleatoric, was that the word? An aleatoric instrumental album from Reflux Festival, which happened in Moncton from like 2014, where it's just a guitar improvisation, a 35-minute long guitar improvisation, and that's coming out in the next few months. So there will be more details about that. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, Reflux is a really cool festival too.
And happening this year in May. I guess presumably mostly online.
Well, but I guess they're up in that New Brunswick.
Yeah.
The bubble back under control by then or whatever. Because I feel I've been both of us have spent time living in the East Coast, and you probably have had some of this experience. But like East Coast folks are just like straight up like, come to the bar, like I'm partying tonight, like come to my DJ gig, playing shows and stuff. So it's anyhow, I feel like to some extent people can gather there more than they can gather here.
Yeah, and hopefully we can both get back there at some point soon.
I would love to have some garlic fingers. Maybe not garlic fingers. Maybe some fresh seafood or something. But it would be nice to smell the ocean.
Yeah, well, it's been wonderful having you on, James. I'm gonna keep going and play a few more songs, but we're gonna say goodbye to James for now. Again, there's donation links in the video description, and links to James's music. So check it out, folks. And we'll keep going. So bye, James.
Bye. Thanks so much for having me, and take care, everybody.
See you soon.
Thanks for tuning in.
Bye. That's James Goddard, Skin Tone. I'm going to play a few more songs here. Let me know if you got requests. I've got I'm going to play Lawless, which was requested a while back, one of mine. I'm going to play Shapes though first from the last album. I need this extra little camera on so you can see me play the piano.
I can't get out of. You pull me into shapes that I can't get out of. I can't get out of. Less is more than you wanted to be. Follow me down. There's an end to the street. Held alone in the dying of spring. How to pretend that you don't mean a thing. You pull me into shapes that I can't get out of. I can't get out of. You pull me into shapes that I can't get out of. I can't get out of. Strangely knit clothes, nothing stays without stain. Wait for them pull to get out into the rain. The pull never came. Now the sky's almost clear. Not laying blame for the following steers. I can't get out of.
That was Shapes. I'm going to do a little collaboration that I recorded a few weeks back with my good friend Michael Fierstack on an old track of mine called Folds. I've been really trying to work on my French the last little while, watching a lot of French TV shows and listening to some podcasts as well. And I made the startling discovery that, I don't know, like my favorite thing that I've learnt in quite a while, that the French for boy band is boys band, le boys band. And that tickled me like no end. I don't particularly know why, but I thought it was amazing. But yeah, I'm going to play a piece called Folds that I recorded with Michael Fierstack remotely. He's a good friend of mine. He's going to play on the stream in a few weeks' time as well.
1, 2, 3, 4. Climb on this fleshy frame, hands and feet are fixed, stretching up above me. This man-made shoulder that is broken sides. The wind rose, I lost my step, cushioning my back, the sands that came to greet me. The fallen erect and filed away with all the wherewithal. And when you touch the sun, remember what it's for. The heat pulling sweat from your pores. It's in the rising shoulders, cushioning your lives and folders. 'Cause even if you pushed it forward, we've got it wrong. It still wins a shyness night. We listen the folds of wings in silent feathers, but still we'll push over land as breathless as the day we came. And when you touch the sun, remember what it's for. The heat pulling sweat from your pores. It's in the rising shoulders, cushioning your lives and folders. 'Cause even if we pushed it forward, we've got it wrong. That's Michael Fierstack on the pedal steel guitar. I'm just going to do one more here for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I mean, if somebody gets like a super speedy request in, maybe I'll do one more. But yeah, I had a request for Lawless, which is a track from my second record from my friend Zern in Hanover last week.
Just to mention the donations again, I hadn't realized, but so yeah, there's a support link in the video description on YouTube and Facebook, and there's a link for an Interact for people in Canada for PayPal. But through the PayPal thing, you can actually also do credit card payments, which I hadn't realized. Okay, I'm gonna do Lawless here, a Mote of Dust cover. That's a great idea. I played a show with those guys. Is that where you saw me play Night of Chill Blue, or is that just a coinky dink? But yeah, just wanted to point out that if you haven't been contributing before because you had a credit card and no PayPal, you actually can, and I just didn't even realize. And again, thanks so much to everybody who does support every week. It's amazing. So this is going to be the last song for the night. But yeah, for those who don't watch regularly, I do this every Wednesday, exactly the same time. So 3 p.m. Montreal time, 4 p.m. East Coast Canada, 8 p.m. UK, 9 p.m. in Central Europe. But this is Lawless for Zern and family.
Back where we walked, they said it was clearing to quiet my mind, to hold us both to storms, the rains, the climbs I use bring the core where we are, we shed the guilty tears. Summers indoors, we'd read our viral what does it mean when it's all less than clear? chasing blind and senseless stare, sanguine as the kids we are. We never give it up. Suffer the fool and genius the same, stable their lips before their claim, hard on maidens we're wretched little boys. We chase the sense around, we learn in time.
That was Lawless. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks to James Skintone for guesting. You can check out all his stuff in the links in the video description. Subscribe and like and all that stuff if you didn't already and you like it and you want to keep abreast of what's going on, because that's the easiest way to do it. Yeah, I'll be back next week. Take care and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.